You probably think of a cold glass of milk as the ultimate health drink. But in 1850s New York, that white liquid was a silent assassin that killed 8,000 babies in a single year. This wasn't an accident. It was one of the most disgusting corporate cover-ups in human history, and it all started with a glass of whiskey. Back then, the city was exploding in size, and getting fresh milk from the country was almost impossible before refrigeration. So, New York's whiskey distilleries came up with a brilliant and profitable solution. They built massive, filthy sheds right next to their distilleries and filled them with thousands of cows. Instead of grass, they fed these animals swill, the hot, acidic, fermented grain mash left over from making booze. It was a nightmare in a bottle. The cows were kept in cramped stalls, standing in their own waste for their entire lives. Because the swill was basically hot acid, their teeth rotted out, and they developed tail sickness, where their tails would literally rot and fall off. These stump-tail cows became so weak they couldn't even stand up. But the owners didn't care. They just rigged up pulley systems and hoisted the dying animals with ropes so they could keep milking them until they dropped dead. The liquid that came out of these sick animals was a thin, bluish, watery mess that smelled like rot. But the distributors knew how to play the game. To turn that blue slop into something that looked like pure country milk, they started mixing in a cocktail of chemicals. They added chalk, flour, and starch to make it thick and white. They stirred in molasses for color, eggs for richness, and even used plaster of Paris to give it body. Sometimes the water they used to stretch the volume came straight from stagnant ponds full of bacteria. The results were catastrophic. Thousands of infants who were fed this swill milk began to waste away. They suffered from violent diarrhea, cholera, and what doctors called marasmus, which is essentially starving to death while your stomach is full. The public was terrified, but the powerful men running the distilleries were protected by the corrupt politicians of Tammany Hall, who took their cut and looked the other way. The breaking point finally came in 1858 when a man named Frank Leslie launched a brutal investigation in his illustrated newspaper. He sent undercover reporters into the sheds to draw the dying cows and the filth. He published a headline that hit New York like a thunderclap: "How we poison our children." He didn't call them businessmen, he called them milk murderers. The images of roped-up, rotting cows being milked for profit caused a citywide riot. It took years of fighting and more deaths. But that outrage eventually sparked the first real food safety laws in America and led to the pasteurization we take for granted today. It's a chilling reminder that the rules protecting what you eat and drink weren't written with a pen. They were written in the blood of 8,000 children who never had a choice.